Hey, how's everybody doing?
Hey, what's going
awesome,
on, Maddie?
Hey,
and we're live.
We are
And we're live.
Ah,
It's so great to have you all here. Let's go around the room and introduce everyone. Toby one.
hey, Toby One HEXobi. Great to be a part of the second HEX Conference. I was fortunate enough to be part of one of the panels, or the socials, I guess, whatever it was last year, and happy to be back to talk with some fellow HEXicans and just revel in the success that we've all shared and that we want to continue to share with new people. So yeah, Maddie, thanks for putting on another great show, kicking it off, and looking forward to the rest of the conference and looking forward to the real live conference in Vegas.
Yes, my pleasure. And I think you were the one when we were at the 5555 tour. You were the one who gave me the idea to hand out magnets.
Oh yeah,
as one of my onboarding strategies. And so I got 1,000 magnets made
awesome.
that show the Hex DeLorean from
Sweet.
hextothefuture.com. And so yes, thank you for that. It's kind of a segue between our last segment about social media and spreading the word and this general social with all of you lovely HEXicans. Timothy Benjamin, I believe you're up next.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Yes, I too was invited to speak at the first online HEX conference, and I appreciate that privilege and the fact that you invited me again. It's great to be here. It's great to talk with some of my fellow HEXicans backstage before coming out here. Looking forward to having a lively conversation with everybody and hoping that everybody that is viewing enjoys it as much as we do.
Yes, thank you. And it's been a while since I reminded people to hit the like and subscribe button and share the stream out. Thanks for being here. Lindsay?
Hi everyone. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Our pleasure.
Long time no see, Maddie.
Yeah. It was great to see you in Albany, and it was really fun to have the HEX meetup there and do the workshop. What's been going on with you?
We have been busier than ever. We actually still have people contacting us, and we're onboarding new HEXicans daily.
Nice.
Our clients are like just loving all of the excitement around PulseX and Pulse Chain and sacrificing, and it's been like a juicy topic in the area. So everybody's getting excited.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really exciting. And I think that the type of outreach that you and Adam are doing is really great.
Yeah, Adam has been amazing. The two of us, along with Hex Machina, and we're going to start streaming too, so we can start getting onboarding new HEXicans and bridging with other communities around us.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Sinclair Crypto, welcome.
Hey, what's going on, Maddie? Thanks for having me here tonight. This is pretty much my first online HEX online convention, and pretty much what's up to you guys watching on YouTube. I met a lot of a lot of the HEXicans in Vegas, and I'm actually on Twitter. I'm Hex on Dex on Twitter, but you probably don't know it's me because I have a baby filter for my profile picture, so it don't look like me, but it's me, trust me. But yeah, just glad to be here and spend the night with all you fellow HEXicans on this first night of the crypto conference, of the HEX crypto conference. Yes.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Chris P.
Hey now, how you doing, Maddie? Hey team.
Great. How are you?
Shout out to all those HEXicans out there. Hopefully out here watching us. So yeah, Maddie and I have been talking for a while. I'm really focused on financial independence and using HEX for that purpose, and really excited about learning some stuff at this conference. So looking forward to it.
That's right. There's a common acronym that a lot of people know called FIRE, Financial Independence Retire Early. And you were kind enough to come on my stream in the early days, maybe the first 3 months or 6 months of me streaming, and we did a great episode about that. Can you tell everybody just a little bit about what that idea is?
Oh, sure. Yeah, just in a in a soundbite, you know, we're all working towards financial independence. A lot of us found HEX that way, right? You know, this incredible opportunity to build passive income ladders and fulfill, you know, whatever our needs are, whatever our purpose is. And so financial independence matches up with that fire movement. It's not one particular way of doing things. It's kind of a way. It's a way of life. But that way of life sounds an awful lot like being a HEXican. Delay gratification, you know, invest for the future, work really hard. So, yeah, that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. And finally, we have Kenyan HEXican here. Are you able to unmute your mic?
Oh, hello, Mari.
Hey, well, it's so great to see you here live. I know it's a totally different time zone where you're at. Welcome.
Man, it's amazing to be here. We chat a lot with you guys on the social media. It's amazing to be here. My name is Daniel Kuria. On Twitter, I'm known as Sakush. The Kenyan HEXican. It's so amazing to be here and share our stories of what HEX has done to our people, how it's changing lives, how we are onboarding people. Man, HEX is the thing. I just can't wait to also get experience from others who came before us, HEX OGs. I'm so excited, and I know so many who are yet to be future HEXicans will join this train which already got started. We are so excited, man.
You've been making YouTube videos for a while, and I've really enjoyed your channel. I've been following it for many months. And can you tell us a little bit more about what your style is of making videos?
Yeah, my target group is East African young people. I use at first I started using simple slang language, you know, the language people use on the street to get the target group of young people. But in time I had to use English, you know, because I reach a wide audience since I discovered YouTube is not just localized, it's international. And so far it's been quite a journey. And HEX and onboarding people using YouTube, I thought it's a small tool. I get a lot of DMs, people in East Africa. Tanzania is our neighboring country, Uganda, guys as far as Nigeria, others in South Africa. And that one has given birth to 3 WhatsApp groups of HEXicans in Africa, man. You can see the magnitude of what thing is doing. If I try to get them here on this conference, it will be too much noise, you know. It's really amazing what this internet can do and how we even discover hexes on our personal levels.
Well, you did a really great job, I think, in the videos that I saw of capturing the excitement that you and your friends have had about HEX, even back when the price was much lower than it is today. The price keeps going up over time. How did you capture such excitement?
One of the amazing things is being in the process of learning and earning and starting the first. If you go back to the first videos, we didn't even understand what T-shares was. And me personally, on my level, I would stake. That is before even I began videos. I will end my stakes just like a naive person, and then I began consuming. I think it was hexologist videos who really got me inspired to understand what this amazing technology is all about. So that's when I went back in the drawing board and I began doing my own research, because HEX is not just any other invention. It is a financial tool that is going to change our financial life for the better. That one in itself made me realize that when I put content out there and when others consume content out there, it's all about telling them that the game has really changed. So from those previous videos and getting time whenever I can to put up this content, it's a clear indication that this thing is going to be a vehicle. It's going to be something that is really worthwhile.
And that's even a great example to tell people that even if you don't understand everything there is to know about HEX, you can start documenting your journey now and capture some of that excitement in that learning process. Now, as we go around the room here, what are some other things that people want to bring up? Toby, one?
Hey, Manny, I got one just to kind of go off of Korea's explanation of how he's been involved and what he's been doing. I found him on TikTok, and it captured me immediately, the sincerity and the humor and just the way that he presented things. And I was absolutely dumbfounded with how few followers he had. So I've been, pumping him out there on my socials for a while. And then I found the YouTube channel. So Korea, do you have what's your TikTok handle? If you drop your TikTok handle in the private chat, I'm sure Maddie and the rest of us can go ahead and put that on our socials. But his TikTok is what roped me in. And I mean, obviously, if you had Super HEX on earlier, TikTok, I think, is a great opportunity, and it's really starting to take off. I've been promoting that for Super HEX and other people to get involved. It's a commitment like any social media platform, but I think it's all about outreach. And if you can do that personally, that's always, I think, the ultimate way to do it. But the various socials, whatever you kind of gravitate toward is your medium of choice. I've got a few TikToks up. It's very minimal. I've got like a clip of my Hexico music video parody that I did earlier last year, I guess, and a couple other things. But I think it's really a burgeoning field for crypto discussion. And then we were talking about it in the green room. There's actually a live feature on TikTok. And I was surprised at how many people are just, late night, whatever, scrolling through, and there's just someone that's in front of a camera talking to various people that are popping in to see what this person's live streaming. So I thought that would be a great opportunity for people to go in and start talking about HEX, because there are a handful of people that are talking about crypto. But my point was just to basically point toward Korea's TikTok, because I think it's underappreciated. So I think if people were able to go out there and follow him on TikTok, I think that would be a great start. And if you're not on TikTok, I think you should check it out, because I think there's some untapped opportunity there.
I think this is a little bit tangentially related, but I'm going to take the opportunity to say, as a broadcaster, it makes my day when people message me something positive. And whether there have been times when I shared with the community that things weren't going super well, and other times when I shared that things were going well, both of those times, it really meant a lot that people reached out. And, so I would encourage people, to let the people that you follow, that you admire, that are getting the word out about HEX, let them know how you feel. Send them a positive message. For a lot of the broadcasters, unfortunately, there are some negative parts of the job. And so the more positivity we can spread, a lot of times moods are contagious. And so when we get excited and share our positivity with others, then that can be broadcast as well. Timothy Benjamin, what's the next topic that you'd like to comment on?
Well, did you just ask a question prior to that you were wanting discussion on? Or are you?
I'm kind of leaving
the floor up in the
freestyle mostly, okay, but still wanting to work our way around the room.
So then what was the question that you just asked then? It's late.
Is there something that you'd like to share with the audience, or an observation that you've made about anything we've talked about tonight?
Well, the thing that really is resonating with me very strongly right now is I would just love more than anything to see HEX and Pulse just explode in countries like Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, these African countries. I don't think anything would make me happier than to see that, because I guarantee you those people are not going to emergency end stake. They're not going to be dumping their bags. They're not the people who are trading. They're not the people that are just taking all of this for granted. I believe those people, if they had an opportunity to get their hands on this, that they would get it and that they would use it to benefit their communities and their families and stuff. So that's the thing that's just really, I'm so thankful to be on here with Kuria and to hear him give his reports of what's going on in his part of the world. I follow him on Facebook, so I'm kind of aware of his activity over in Kenya. So that's just adds to all of that.
Awesome.
Very good.
And here's the TikTok link that I've shared now in the chat. Lindsay?
Oh yeah, that's great. Thank you. That's how you get me on TikTok. Get me something interesting I want to watch. Because sometimes I stumble across them. I could get that's like a black hole. You get lost on there for quite a bit. No, that's a time waster. I don't have time for that. I really love, we were saying in the green room, different aspects of how everyone in this community has a skill and a niche and a craft. And coming into the space as a female is overwhelming at best, I shall say. But it's so welcoming. Like everyone that I've met has been a gentleman, and well, not everybody. No, I'm just kidding. Like it's been so fun. These meetups are like getting out and connecting with people that want to talk about the future. They want to talk about like what is happening in the world around us in a very real way, in conversations that are flexible between each other. And then you're talking about having like a financial plan come in and like growing legacy wealth with each other as a community, growing and getting that out there, and having like a plan and a community and a safe net there to reach out, because there's like different resources everywhere for us. That alone should let somebody that's coming into HEX know that there is an abundance of things. So when things do start to like dip, reach out to your community. They're there for you, right? Or we're here for you. And influencers want to know, what do you want to hear about? Streaming going forward. What do you want to know? What do you want to see? Like, we'll get on here and like, I'll get on here. I'd be happy to get on TikTok. Send me a message. What do you want to know? It's like, what can you share that's of value is what I think most streamers and content creators want to know. Like, what can I be of service for you as community? So please tell us. Yeah.
Another thing I would observe is that you and Adam have a particular strategy of meeting people where they're at with whatever crypto they already know about, and then demonstrating competence to the point where they start asking you what the next move is. And I thought it was really clever how it was presented to me, and just kind of your guys' strategy, I think, has been super successful in onboarding people. Can you speak a little bit to that?
Very successful in a wide range of ways. We have onboarded Super Bowl champions. We've onboarded major business owners in the area, real estate tycoons, and small community members, moms, single moms, and those 90-hour-a-week dads. Like, we're all inclusive with that, and we're proud to be able to bring community members in. Like, one of our clients, Green Zone Recycling. We help them to get organized, to get tokenized, so that they can get payments in Nashville for recycling, so that they can get into the crypto space to start getting things going. And now they're HEXicans, and bringing that and bridging that with each other. And Solo, we have some Sologenic holders that came right over where they should be. So
At first I wasn't sure, because it seemed like you guys were all too willing to talk about altcoins. But then when I met both of you and I really listened to what your strategy was, I again just think it was brilliant. you know, if you guys meet somebody that, you know, has a good amount of money to invest, or even if they don't, right? And they are super fired up about XYZ coin, whether it's a dog coin or, you know, something that maybe Hexicans don't necessarily believe in, you all would still meet that person where they're at. And so you'd help them onboard into whatever they've heard about: Bitcoin, Ethereum, dog coins, anything. And then super predictably, they would come back and ask you for your own tip. And so it's like, if you had presented them your top pick at first, they wouldn't have been interested. But because you waited for them to ask, it was much more predictable, it seemed. Is that, am I reading that correctly?
You're so accurate. Absolutely. I look at it like, if you force something on somebody, it becomes easy to call it a scam. I'm not going to give you that opportunity to put I could bring you in easily by being a little bit of salt instead of, you know, like just a dash of it. Like, drop an intuitive interest in it. They'll let you know if they're open, and then you know if they're like, what we do is we'll give them a little bit of HEX so they can watch the price grow, and then they can start appreciating it for what it is. And then they always come back for more. And then they take the initiative to go and reach other members, which is exactly what it should be: networking, community building, and not in a way where it's non-threatening and it's social, but it's also, you know, real. Like, this is a real product that we can comfortably and confidently present to our clients and make that the backbone of their portfolio.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Richard, for giving us all that that opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
Sinclair?
Yeah, well, I definitely got to say that it's going to be hard for people to not know about HEX in the future because of things like this, because of what Lizzie was just saying. You have so many events like this right here, for example. You got, you know, like the Crypto Starbucks guys doing the US tour. You know what I mean? You got the real in life, you know, HEX event going on in HEX Conference going on in March. There's so many things going on with HEX where it's going to be hard for people to miss. And then you got people that's onboarding, like Lindsay, like Toby Wan, you know, like Kareem. You got master networkers, you know, like Funding Gem. So
yes,
there's plenty, like, there's so much talent in the HEX community to where it's like, yo, it's really going to be hard for people to not know about HEX. Maybe people that know about HEX, maybe like in the year 2020, maybe 2021. But as we go on now, 2022, I think you're going to see a lot of people like, oh, yeah, we know what HEX is, rather than before last year, 2 years ago, people really didn't know. So, you know, I feel like that's what's going to happen. And also with like onboarding, how Lizzie was saying, and you as well, Maddie, like how you don't pressure people. So, for example, when I'm talking about HEX on Instagram and my stories or whatever, I'm not like DMing people on Instagram. And these are people that are, it's like a warm audience, because these are people that I actually grew up with and they follow me on Instagram, right? We follow each other. So it's not like I'm in their DMs like, hey, like, you know, you should check out this HEX thing. I'm posting stories about it, and other HEX content creators are putting their stories in my story, right? And they're seeing like, all right, well, this guy's actually consistent. And I'm like, all right, you know what? Let me DM Sinclair and see if he knows about other cryptocurrencies, right? It might not necessarily be HEX, but it may be other cryptocurrencies. But being that they're DMing me, I have a foot in the door to talk to them about HEX, pretty much. You know, so I feel like it's a lot easier on the network doing it that way. But yeah, it's gonna be hard to miss. You know, it's just crazy. There's so much going on. You know what I mean? TikTok, you know, obviously like Korea, like he's, you know, he has the TikTok and Super HEX. Like, it's gonna be hard to miss. Put it like that. It's crazy. Yeah.
I think you're correct. Your prediction is spot on, and it's kind of interesting to think about how organic the followers in Hex are compared to other channels. Whether you've got somebody like Anthony Pompliano, let's say, haven't seen anything of his lately, but I imagine he's still getting very few views compared to his total number of subscribers, whereas someone like Richard is getting similar numbers. And that shows that people are staying engaged, that it's organic, that they're not bots, they're not paid views, and that really sets up a better base for punching through the noise of today's world. I mean, people, they don't have extra attention or an extra attention span to put on things that maybe aren't immediately pressing, or they've already heard the sales pitch of this coin can do 10,000x, and it was a scam not talking about Hex, right? And so so when people hear already every marketing pitch that's ever come along, it's going to take more than that. It's going to take something to catch their attention. And I love that you picked up on this idea of consistency as well. And virality. I think they go together. I think that people are I think that we're really on the edge. I think next year's HEX conference, is going to be pretty hard to imagine compared to now, just because there's so much growth being being put together and planted. There's a lot of seeds being planted with people, as well as you mentioned, with like Funding Gym and all these legacy people. Lots of good observations. Chris?
Yeah, sure, Maddie. I was just reflecting as we're talking, what kind of community we have and how great it is. I think I'd like to tie a couple things together, kind of go back to what you started off with, which is,
Please.
it probably takes about 10 times more effort to come back from like negative comments than it does positive comments. And so as we're sitting here talking, I know a lot of the folks listening are in the chats and all the rest and thinking about onboarding and everything. We're in a second wave now of new people coming in. The first was kind of groundbreaking, moving towards Pulse Chain, right? That big wave of people that came in. Now we have another 30,000 people, coming at us from PulseX. It's a great opportunity for all the Hex, because everybody who's really listening to this is part of our, part of our community, to pitch in and help build our community stronger. With everyone joining in, I get to see a lot of this in the chats. Just a little bit of help for people, who are new, brings them in, right, and helps get us to where we need to go. So I think that's a big part of it for me, as I'm listening to this, is how do we make this community stronger? How do we bring it together? Because like Lindsay said, it's a very open, it's open. We bring everybody in, and we're willing to support.
Definitely. And Kenyan HEXican?
Yeah, as we are seeing the way Hex is truly standing out for the past 2 years around, and people giving it the seriousness it deserves, and the way we have that organic growth, I'm really convinced. Like, for example, I was sharing on my status the way the 169 blockchain was hacked in last year alone, and that is 7 billion worth of funds lost, while Hex, the finished product, it is still intact and we were unaffected. That one itself speaks a lot of volume on the security and the way Richard Heart put a lot of amazing details on this product before he released it to the world. This is truly a shining beacon. Look at the way, like my friends, there are some who still are stiff-necked, and decision is personal, by the way. Some are coming back, like the guy you call Nicodemus in the Bible, who came to Jesus at night and said, Messiah, what is this that you're telling people? Are you told that Messiah? So in this case, this is HEX. They come, they say, I run a huge group of people and we just got scammed. And you see that one is not fun. But when they tell you this HEX of yours, I'm seeing a huge sharing of TikTok, Facebook, I think it's still around, and women, young men are unstaking and getting quite something. I tell them, you see, HEX is a finished product. If you go to hex.wiki, read it for yourself, do your own research. We are not just here today and then gone tomorrow. The security aspect of this product is amazing. HEX has taken a fixed deposit bank account and they have put it on a smart contract and the blockchain. And you see that one itself speaks volume. Every time Richard Heart goes online and I tell my friends, okay, here's the YouTube link, go and listen from the horse's mouth himself. They're coming out and saying, man, I'm convinced that this thing, honestly, it is amazing. I don't know why to some it is, HEX to some is, I don't know how to put it. It's like being bombarded by something that is too good. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's like too good of information. But I tell them, you just take that leap of faith the way some of us took. We didn't understand. But in time, we are understanding Richard Heart is somebody who is reputable. He means what he says. And even with an ongoing Pulse X, I'm telling you, the guys who are unbelievers, they are now the ones who are even saying, man, why can't we put an ad on the Kenyan TV and share to the rest of Kenyans about this? And I tell them, man, advertisement is upon you. But rest assured, this thing, as we're growing organically with our Facebook, with our tools at disposal, the TikToks, guys are coming, and they're coming in waves, man.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I feel like Korea just keeps teeing it up for me, because it's like he's just it's right exactly where my mindset is at with all of this, is just the huge opportunity that it presents for people. And not to get into specific of terms, because I understand, this, I mean, even though we got a lot of time, we don't have a lot of time, but it's just the seed thing. You're planting a seed. And it's funny to me because one of my onboarding methods.
Can I establish that you have some credibility in this area? It's my understanding that you have onboarded many people, and so proceed.
Yeah,
Just
I mean,
a little
for those who may be tuning in that don't know my big misshapen noggin, I've been around since before day one. I'll try to keep my story brief. I know I can be long-winded. This Ross Hex will love this. I've got my own troll for those users that don't know. I think he secretly loves me. It's understood. But anyhow, I will try not to be too long-winded. Everyone that knows me knows that's hard. But I actually stumbled across Richard about a year after my brother had passed away, back in 2018, and he was on the Doug Polk podcast on YouTube. I think he was shitting on IOTA or something. I can't remember exactly the thrust of the early parts, but as he went on, he talked about legacy and what life is really about, and kind of tipped his hand to his desire to go for glory. That it's not about money being the end, the be all end all. It's about what you do with that money and what you do with that freedom and that time that you get when you can find a way to have some financial freedom by making good choices, like he did, mining Bitcoin when it was 50 cents, and building his business and retiring at such a young age. He went out and continued to build and continued to develop his mind and read Reddit stuff to learn more about the crypto space and get himself to this position that he's in now, which is this incredible master educator. And it was just truly inspiring. And I was really in kind of a dark period for myself personally at that point. And I'm nobody, right? I've got maybe 50 Twitter followers, probably family and friends, if that. And I messaged him. And for the longest time, until I got a new laptop, from that date, I actually had a screen grab of his reply. And I could almost probably quote it, but he was essentially saying, thanks for the kind words. You owe it to those that came before us to live your best life. And it was just so kind of him to take that moment out of his obviously busy life and to reply to some random dude on Twitter, right? And I was hooked. And I'm like, this guy's legit. You know, it's like top hat or not, you know, I'm going to watch this guy and see what he's about. And I was glued. And then I think that was like maybe March or May of 2018, and just kept watching. And he was talking about CFD token way back then. And that was really inspired, I thought, and interesting. And then I think a lot of the ideas and the mechanics of that kind of went into the early stages of HEX development. And I was eager and ready to rock and roll when the adoption amplifier started. So I went in tentative at first. You know, like many people that are in HEX, I think the biggest regret is that you didn't get in earlier and you didn't go harder. You didn't get in heavier, right? And so I tiptoed in, you know, tested the waters, and I was a trader. So I had a big hole that I was digging out of from trading primarily Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, and Chainlink, and was clawing my way out of that hole. But I was losing sleep. It was compromising my relationships. I'm sure I lost some hair from that period of time, you know, with, you know, alerts going off in the middle of the night and trying to keep up with charts and just having that be my existence. And, you know, that was another thing Richard talked about with, you know, trading and poker and gaming and, you know, those things and how they're really net negative, right, for your life. And I was still tentative, didn't go really all in on HEX until just before Big Payday. And at that point, I got rid of all my bags. I almost got back to even. So I feel like, you know, in the trading game, I did better than most because, you know, I was only down maybe, you know, I don't know, 2 or 3%, I think, of my total stack, maybe 5%. But I was down over 90% at one point. I mean, like stuff that, you know, would probably have some people with a shotgun barrel in their mouth. I mean, legit, it was devastating, like how bad that I got wrecked. And I clawed my way back, and then seeing what HEX was doing kind of bolstered my resolve, got in heavy before Big Payday and watched the big dump, you know, and then, you know, got a little nervous because I'm like, oh God. And right at that time is when Bitcoin took off, for those that remember. And I'm like, oh, if I just held on to my bags, Bitcoin and Litecoin, I would have been rocking right now. And I have that portfolio still on my phone to just watch, like, what are my old bags? What would those have been doing? And it's remarkable, like how many X's that HEX has done over and above that. Even back when I sold Bitcoin, it was at 13,000, right? So to give you an idea, you know, to watch that run up and think that maybe did I make the wrong call, and then eventually realize I made the best decision of my life to be in HEX. And then the ancillary benefits of the community and the other education you get, whether it's, you know, psychology tips from guys like Maddie that I really appreciate on a very deep level, and you know, and just life lessons from Richard, and just the kindness of all the other people in the community, and listening to their stories and seeing, you know, how it's changed their lives. Tim, you know, being like, you know, he is what we're all gunning for, like to be to that point where you don't need to work anymore, right? And I'm still under an NDA right now, but it's like I'm very, very close to being in that same position finally. So I'm getting close to being a retired HEXican, right? And you know, and when just like Tim here, it's like even though you're retired, it doesn't mean you're not working anymore. It's like you're just not working for money. So it's like, where do you put your effort? You know, so like you, Maddie, it's like, you know, you're putting your efforts into helping people learn more about this amazing opportunity. And you know, not to sound like an infomercial, but you gotta plant the seed. That's all you can do. I gave away over 350,000 HEX to onboards. And you know, and it was at $100 increments, right? So a lot of people, and it was remarkable to me. Give Me Liberty gave me a bunch of crap about it. Like, you can't give somebody something for free, they're not going to value it. Well, that's not necessarily true. The vast majority of people I gave it to have just watched it grow. They haven't put in the effort and put in more money of their own to bolster those gains. But the ones that did, and that really have dedicated themselves and learned about it, it's like from just the first tier of people, it's multiple millions of dollars that they've put in. And then if you go out to that second layer of people they've onboarded, family and friends and acquaintances, it's well over tens of millions of dollars now that have come into HEX just from planting those seeds. And the right people that want to put in the effort and want to learn and want to understand, and they're not just looking for a quick hit like a day trader, then they're going to understand the power of T-shares and how it really frees you up to just rediscover what life is without chasing a dollar, whether it's working for the man or chasing gains, right? It's like you stake and you chill, and it really opens up your perspective for like what else you can do with the limited number of breaths we all have on this journey, right? So I don't know what hell was that 5 minutes. I think I did all right. So I mean, that kind of gives you a pretty good overview of like me and my story from the beginnings of HEX, for those that may have not known it, and for those that did, hopefully I didn't bore you to tears. I'll have to check the chat and see if Ross is roasting me.
Of course. And do you consider yourself a reformed trader now?
Absolutely. I mean, I still get the bug. I'm not going to lie. It's exciting. When I was in Vegas, I spent 8 hours at a blackjack table. I mean, there's still, you know, like there is some that gambling part of me that's in there, but just the freedom that HEX is allowed, to where it's like, it's not as dire. It's like, I mean, I even played blackjack for a living at one point in my life. So it's like, I enjoy it as far as the challenge, and it's not so much about the money anymore. Trading, I don't do. I don't trade. I mean, there have been times that I've, sold some HEX and bought it back because it just seemed pretty obvious with the TA. But I'm net positive on my bags as far as I've got more HEX now than I've ever had. And it's a good idea to always keep some dry powder, because, dips happen in crypto. And I would definitely encourage anyone that is hanging on the sidelines, get in before that copy, right? Get in before that copy for sure. I think we just cracked 4 million on or no, more than that, 400 million on the 400 million on the, which is bonkers to me. It's like, we're not even done with the first week for the Pulse X sacrifice. I think that's going to really be some great opportunities for people, almost like a ground floor opportunity like it was for HEX. But man, get those copies, lock up those T-shares. Those rates are not going down ever. And make that your primary goal, I think, is to get your HEX and get your T-shares locked in. And then if you got some more fiat to put in there, get yourself a sacrifice going for Pulse X, and then just strap in for Pulse Chain launch, because that's going to be wild. And I mean, especially for people that are trying to get in with smaller amounts of money, like it's slowed down my onboarding, because I still use kind of that method of, if someone's a little tentative, I'll be like, hey, I'll send you $100 a HEX. And you can watch it. Set up your staker app. Here's $100. Watch it. I would recommend staking it, but not now, because you're going to spend 30 or 40 or 50% of it to pay the fee to stake it. So hang on to it for your copy. Pulse Chain's coming, and then if you want to learn how to stake and stuff, call me. And that's kind of how I approach it. But it has definitely slowed my roll on onboarding, because so much is eaten up with ETH fees. So I think once Pulse Chain launches and it gets back to being below $1 to do your swaps and your staking and all that stuff, I think it's just going to explode. I mean, think about this, Maddie. I think back in March, I sent a buddy of mine $100, and he's a great story. I would love to have him on sometime, but it's like, he's had some struggles with addiction and was really at a low point in his life, and it gave him hope. And I mean, and he's clean now. I think he's 100 days sober. He's
Congratulations.
I just saw him over the holidays, and he was so thankful for what his HEX was doing. But we looked back to just kind of look at his stakes and how those were coming along. And I gave him 10,000 HEX, which was about $100 at the time. We spent almost 6,000 HEX on gas to get the staking ladder established. So back then I'm like, how in the world was that 6,000 HEX? That's insane. And you look back, it's like, oh, back then that was $60. So think about all the economic energy that could have gone into HEX during the last year and a half, especially as Ethereum gas prices have gone bonkers, right? So as we reopen that can of worms with Pulse Chain, and you're not going to be burning all that extra economic energy in just the fee to play, the ticket to the show, it's going to open it up to so many people that can get in. Like one of my best stakes ever, it's like I show people, it was $76, and it was back. I started it in December of 19. It was 15 months later. It was over $500,000 when I unstaked it. $76 to $500,000. It's bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. So, I mean, and I think that those kind of gains are still possible in HEX. And, it's just a matter of stake and watch those T-shares crank it up. And the t-shirts are dropping off every day. I'm going too deep, but yeah, I mean, plant the seeds. The people that want to learn about it will. The people that see the value are going to dig in. And just, you know, not to get biblical, but like Jesus said, man, shake the dust off your feet and go to the next town if they're not receiving your message, right? So tell them what's up, and the people that get it, they will love you and thank you and be grateful forever. And it's a way to start changing lives. And you don't know what those lives are going to do when they aren't shackled by the constraints of trading your time and your life for money to just live. So, I mean, I'm stoked.
True that. True that.
It's, you know, but thank you for letting me rant on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. You know, a lot of us, when we first started, we were here a little bit earlier, you know, transactions were a penny. You know, steaks were a penny.
Yes.
It was so cheap you couldn't even meter it. Now, I know a lot of people haven't gotten a chance to go out in the test net. And even if they're there, they're not necessarily going to get the feel. And we're not promoting that people go to other chains, but it will be almost effortless at first to stick. And that is going to be a very good thing for friction, right? So I'm right there with you. A lot of growth coming from that.
And let me add back in, when I ended that stake, I restaked it for longer because I realized, I mean, like, boom, that's a lot of money. I mean, like, $500,000, it's like that's game changer for pretty much anybody, right? But I realized it's like I had a good income. I didn't need that money right now. And I realized by that point the power of T-shares. And I threw that stuff out, I think 7 years, and locked those T-shares up, man. Locked them up. So it's, you know, I have yet to cash out any HEX because I'm that dedicated, and I'm still buying. I got dry powder. I'm buying every dip. So
amazing. And yeah, maybe we can go around the room again and just share anything that you think would be useful for the audience before we wrap up this social. Timothy?
Well, I would say the most important thing for anybody that's listening is to really know exactly what it is that you want from this ecosystem. You know, if you don't have a solid vision and you don't know the specifics of what you want to accomplish, it's going to be really easy to get shaken out and to be tempted to end your stakes if the price goes up 2x or whatever. You know, you have to have a game plan. You got to know what it is that you want out of this. I mean, it's great to be part of the community. You know, one thing that we all have in common is the fact that none of us are paid to be here. None of us are paid bots. You know, we're not paid followers. We're all here, you know, by our own recognizance. So it's just something is just part of life. And just being a responsible person is knowing exactly what you want and knowing what the game plan is to get that. And fortunately, this is all math. So it's all just putting the numbers in the right places to do that. That's one of the things I tell all the people that I onboard is you have to know what it is that you want. If you're just going to throw money at this, you know, you're going to be the first person to panic when you don't see a 2x tomorrow morning. Because, you know, the media is always talking about, you know, somebody spent $20 on some crypto and became a millionaire. Well, they don't tell you how long that person was holding or whatever. It's like, you know, you have to know the facts. And fortunately, HEX is transparent enough that we can know these things. We can extrapolate. You know, there's a site, I think it's called stakehex.today, where you can just put in numbers and see what the future projection of what a stake is going to look like based on the share rate and the price. You know, there's tools that we have available to project what it is that we would like to see in the future. And then it's just a matter of doing the work to make HEX grow to that point of adoption that those results actually come in. So yeah, just have a plan, have a means of getting to point B, and stick to it. Be committed. Don't be afraid to be committed and lock in if that's what you really want.
Hey, Tim, let me add to that real fast. Stakehex.today. StakeHex.today is a fantastic tool.
Yes.
Brianna and Juan came up with a wonderful spreadsheet a long time ago, and then I added to it, and I've shared that out on through Google Sheet links before, and it was effectively the same type of thing. And then Kay, I believe, is the one that we talked to him about webifying that, and then we were kind of dragging our feet and doing other things. And if I'm not mistaken, he's the one that started StakeHex today. I'm not sure. It doesn't really matter, but whoever did it, they did a great job. A really, really good tool to do exactly what Tim's talking about, to see, you know, what a staking ladder could look like for whatever amount of money you want to start with, and get a feel for, you know, what that is likely to grow into over time. And you can actually play with the parameters a lot easier on that than we did on the spreadsheet, where you could
We have breaking news.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
Uh-oh.
It looks like our discussion earlier when we talked about CoinMarketCap getting sued for lying about Hex's market cap.
No way.
Finally got through them.
Nice.
No, I'm kidding. But seriously, I just went to coinmarketcap.com on Super Hex's observation, and here we are, number 8.
Number 8.
We'll see.
We all know how this goes. This is the second or third time I've seen this happen. In a few minutes, Hex will vanish, never to be seen again outside of page 3.
Think positive. It's going to stay this time. Third time's a charm.
Now is the time to message everybody you know and say, look, I knew it.
We need a sacrifice pool where people can bet on how long we stay on that ranking, and whoever comes closest, they win the sacrifice.
Yeah, no kidding.
We hope those guys are not joking.
Awesome. But yeah, but check out StakeHex.today, guys, because it's like, even if you got active stakes, you can actually put in your public address and it'll show you all of your liquid hex, your staked hex, and then there's little sliders where you can adjust what you think the price is going to over time. But the predictive element they have in there is pretty good, I think. It's like, I like where they have the default settings, but you can change. And Maddie, I don't know if you want to bring up StakeHex.today to just show it. I don't know if that'd be something you felt like doing tonight or not. But StakeHex.today, you can literally go in and put in the amount of money that you want to stake, how many stakes you want that broken into, for how long, and it will give you, through the predictive elements of the price over time, as well as the hex per T-share per day payout over time, what those stakes are likely to grow into, and it will melt your face off, but it is conservative. Just like the spreadsheets that Bree started out with, and then Juan and I helped kind of get to a more digestible form. And then ultimately, StakeHex today is just a fantastic tool to do what Tim was talking about, which is make a plan. Make a plan. I wish what helped me with my staking ladder was Bree's spreadsheet. That was just like behind the scenes sharing amongst fellow HEXicans. Now there are tools out there that everybody can use that it really quantifies for you the possibilities of even a $500 stake and what that could turn into over time.
Yeah, I'll throw this out to you too. I want to add to what Tim said about people knowing what they want, and sometimes it takes some time to figure that out. Very important, and even for all of us who are here, whether you've been here a year or 2 years, 3 years, some of us, none of the people have been successful in Hex. It didn't happen overnight. And I throw that message out there because it's been a long walk, you know, a lot of steps. Now it feels great. You know, we get to the end here. Well, we're not at the end yet, but I mean, you know, where we are in our journey, you know, we've got many more steps, but I say that because I do interact with a lot of new people, and they're a little salty on both sides. You know, folks have been around for a while, and new folks, and a lot of the ways that, well, just one observation, a lot of the ways that I act and I think about things, and a lot of people I know think about things, it's because we took on this challenge of delayed gratification, and to truly believe and to build the community, like these gentlemen and Lindsay and you know, and that's really what it's about, is building the community.
Buying tops in the past, you know, it was just what we did. You know, it was, you got to see everybody get on the 24-hour live streams, right? And the price of Hex would be down.
And we buy
70%, 80%. Everybody was so happy. Why? Right? Why?
Yep.
T-shares.
I remember when we went to Vegas, we didn't think that 25 cents was possible. Or, well, I mean, we knew it was possible, but like to hit 20, like to hit that mark around there, we were like, woohoo! It was like something extra to celebrate. It was at like 7. I can't remember now. Like things just, everything flies by so fast. Like that's really important for when you're onboarding new people too out in that community, to let them know, like, don't over promise. Like under promise, over deliver. That's how you get them to stay. And if they're getting shaky, point them in the direction of the resources that they have available in the community to them for their specific needs. It's out there. Like, just all they have to do is reach out. And you have many people that are willing, able, and ready to teach basic finances to like that will not necessarily, may not be accessible to people otherwise, for free. What a valuable tool. And that's from connecting through HEX. And now you're out here speaking like with a public together to educate, to get rid of, like, not get rid of, you can't really get rid of it, but to teach people how to deal with fear, uncertainty, and doubt head on. There are tools for that. There are ways to manage that fear. Absolutely. Those tools are what really will help propel this community forward. Strengthen numbers with that, like-minded individuals coming together. Like we're getting like, wealthy too. It's that mindset of what is wealthy. It's, absolutely there's FU money, right? But there's also legacy wealth and building that out for the future. That's like everybody's here for it. Let's go.
The way that HEX as a financial technology is being set up to win, I think, is super important. Something that recently happened that I think we should tell as many people about as possible is that StakerApp became the #1 deployer of smart contracts in the world. That's right.
Amazing.
Wow.
The Gnosis safe technology that the founder of Ethereum uses for his wallet, there are more staker wallets out there than there are for any other company or any other instance of a crypto. So HEX users are adopting technology just like with Uniswap. Nice. The decentralized crypto exchange, that was a missing piece of technology in the Bitcoin stack, right? And Bitcoin has had to pay dearly for that because all of the billionaires in Bitcoin ended up being corrupt exchange owners and people who were ultimately shilling leverage trading stuff. And, it really, it hurt Bitcoin to not have a decentralized place to do all of its volume because it had to touch the legacy financial system, and anything that touches that is going to be corrupted. And so I believe that, in this cypherpunk movement, right, that, it had its good beginnings, but when people really update their worldview, they will realize that Bitcoin is going to continue to waste more and more electricity, that it's going to be shilled more and more by centralized parties, by middlemen, and people are going to end up owning something that doesn't look anything like a crypto. They're owning an IOU from Robinhood, or some sort of derivative paper thing. And so onboarding people right, even if it's a slower process, even if I think for people who are new, if they don't look around and see what's changed in the past year, and see how the technology is continuing to grow. Something Richard said the other day about plenty of people are geniuses, but they're working in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
In HEX, it really feels like, the people who are making significant investments, again, I'm going to point to the StakerApp team, they're spending tens of thousands of dollars a day, I think, maybe more, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars a day to onboard people to get them these super nice wallets that cost like $100 in ETH gas fees. Why aren't they waiting for Pulse? Because that's not how technology works. Technology has to have first adopters. Technology has to have sacrifice. And so when I look around and I see people sacrificing so much for the future, it makes me really confident in the future of HEX. And then I start to learn about the game theory of Pulse and PulseX. And that's something we'll probably have to save for tomorrow. But there sure is a lot to look forward to, isn't there?
Oh my God.
Maddie,
Yes, sir.
Maddie, there was a tweet I read earlier. You were talking about the technology of Bitcoin, and it said, you know, Bitcoin is a store of value like VHS tapes are a store of movies. Yeah, VCRs still work, but it's 2022.
Correct. And you know, when I'm when I'm listening to this idea of how can we under promise people in HEX, like, you know, who are brand new, I'm not sure what to tell them. Like, how much money do you want to put into something that goes down 90% and costs $30 to move around and $100 to get in and out of? Like, that doesn't sound very cool, but still there's hundreds of people getting in per day. And imagine what our network effect is going to be when we do this quantum leap forward with Pulse, where instead of what I just described, it's yeah, you have to stomach the volatility still no matter what, but it's pennies to get in and out. And you know, I think that'll make all the difference.
Richard just put a tweet up to CZ at Binance. He says, "You guys aren't lying about our market cap properly. Please have us put us back on page 3. Thanks."
Oh, damn.
Wow.
Thank you.
I want to check it out.
And I mean, we've got the best. I mean, how can anyone deny that we have the best founder in all of crypto at the lead of all this? I mean, he's just pragmatic and hilarious and a genius and truly driven by the right things and painfully honest. Yeah, he's great, man. We are very fortunate.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. How many founders are so accessible?
Right.
It's proof that he's so hardworking.
Yep.
Everything about Richard, there's proof. And, you know, I think people still take him the wrong way because there are so many incentives in the world for people to get it twisted and you know, but at the end of the day, that's opportunity. People who misunderstand Richard and don't trust him, that makes me more confident because at some point people are going to update their worldview. And again, that's how technology works. It's the forward thinkers that understand first. And if we can be patient enough to let everybody catch up to our understanding, and we don't yell at people and lambast them for, you know, not getting it right away, the better, I think.
I mean, yeah, you can't do that in HEX because you'd lose like 90% of people at the door. It's a complicated product, you know, and this beautiful system that's being built around us, for us, with us, is like, that's pretty complicated too. It's really exciting to get in and start getting into game theory and learning different, you know, stacking strategies. Like, there's so much. It's like, if you're not here for it, like, you're missing out. And those are here for you know, like the full amount. Welcome. You've got support around you and comfort knowing that, like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm here for the long haul. You know, I know the other people in this room too.
A great reply to people that I get often, people that I've told about, they're like, "Oh yeah, I've been watching it. Well, they're watching the price chart, you know? And the question I immediately ask them, I said, "Well, do you understand T-shares yet?" And they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "You have to learn about it." I said, "Don't just watch a chart, because what are you going to do? Wait until it goes up and FOMO in like everyone does with everything?" No, it's like, the reason I told you about this thing is you need to learn about it. Like, you know, and I'm available. If you've got questions, I'll help you out, but learn about it. And like, you know, so don't just watch a chart and have that be the indicator of what's going on. Because, you know, if you're in the big thing that I try to make sure everybody understands, the average stake length yields you approximately 40% APY. If you do the math on that, that means the price could go down 20% a year forever, and you will not lose money. You will actually be about even or a little up. 20% a year forever, the price could go down. So you are hedged to the downside if you're staked the average length by 20% a year. And if it goes to the upside, which look at the chart, tell me what it's doing. You are amplifying your gain by 40% a year. And that a lot of times is the light bulb moment for people to say, hey, if you're in Bitcoin, it went down 20, 30, 40%. That's what you're down. You're not making more Bitcoin every day because you're holding it. You know, if you are staked, you're hedged to the downside by a fair margin, and you are amplified to the upside. And it's like when the people finally like that clicks in, they realize that that chart does not tell the whole story. The price chart does not tell the whole story. But yeah, keep educating.
Yeah, I mean, here we have a chart of HEX versus Bitcoin from launch, and HEX is outperforming Bitcoin when they were both 2 years old.
And that doesn't consider staking it, Maddie. That's just the price performance.
This shows the superiority of HEX, the durability of it, and that more mad gains are possible. That's what I see here.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely, man.
That's why you got a DeLorean, right?
Yeah, right.
I staked all my HEX, and then I waited 15 years, and then I bought a DeLorean and came back. That was the ideal order of operations, actually.
Cool.
Hey, here's something for you. A lot of people are like, you know, when I talk to them, they feel like they're too late to HEX, right? Because we've already done a 10,000x, and I explained to them, I'm like, well, you understand, you know, that Bitcoin is what, 6.5 million X, right? Is that right? Yeah. So in other words, if just to do what Bitcoin did, we still have a 6,500x to go from our top. Think about that. And that's to just match what Bitcoin has done.
And there are a couple of Easter eggs that are in what you just said. In fact, because Richard you have to ask Richard to reveal an Easter egg. He's not always just going to do it without people asking. So somebody asked at one of the meetups in Europe, and sure enough, he had more than one in his pocket ready to go. Remember those figures of Bitcoin doing a 6.5 million X. That's if you only count it starting from a penny. Okay. Really, it traded below a penny multiple times on multiple exchanges, from what I understand. Maybe not multiple exchanges, but it, you know, people had the opportunity to buy Bitcoin at 0.7 of a penny, not just a penny. Okay. So that changes the equation greatly, right? When there's 30% more gains on a 6 million X, that's what, an extra 2 million or something crazy.
Yeah, an extra 2 million X.
One and a half. Yeah, it's wild, right? So
else,
for
Maddie?
every dollar that you put in, that's an extra $1.5 million.
Right.
And then when you look at HEX, it's being calculated from the all-time low, but that was calculating Bitcoin from quote unquote its starting price of 1 penny. So if you go back to HEX's starting price of 0.3 cents on day one, and then it dropped, you know, what, 85% or something after that,
right?
Like that means even more mad gains are possible if it follows the same story and is only just as good as Bitcoin and not designed better than Bitcoin.
Yep. And Maddie, to that same point, and I think it might have been in the same meetup that he addressed something that I've been kind of screaming from the shadows forever, which was, we didn't do 10,000x yet. What are we talking about? it's like, we're not there yet. And the narrative had become like, well, if we hit 55 or 56 cents, then there's our 10,000X that we were saying, you know, that it was promised to go up, or, you know, alluded to that that's what it was designed to go up. And he acknowledged, no, that's from the bottom. And it's because it made it look better. That's not from launch. He said, you know, if you do it from launch, which is what it was designed to do, from launch, 10,000X, he said, we have about another 10X to go. And that was at the top of 50, 56 cents. So that means, you know, just to get to 10,000X, you're looking at a $5 plus X.
Yep.
Right. And that's for 10,000X, not a 6.5 million X or an 8 million X, like Bitcoin, like Maddie was just saying.
Well, from 0.3 of a penny, I think the mental math is it would just be $30 for 10,000X.
Yeah, right. Yeah, more than that.
I'll take that.
Right, I think everybody would. And that's just price. That's not counting your staking interest. You know, that percentage of the inflation that's getting paid to miners to mine for themselves. It's like, you know, you add that on top, and that's that amplification of your gain again. It's just, I don't know. I get way too excited about this stuff.
Yeah, this is why it's so clear to some of us that we're still early, that people who are getting in just now, you know, that there's still so much opportunity. And I think that part of that has to do with the whole psychology of crypto in general and the game theory and the incentives, right? So when it comes to the incentives, it's highly profitable to print money out of thin air and use that for your marketing budget and your bribery budget, right? To get things listed, to get content creators to pump and dump stuff. You know, it's so highly profitable. And Richard has said this, just to, you know, it's to print money out of thin air, that it's really rare for you to find a team of people that once they get their $1 million or their $10 million or their $100 million, it's hard for them to keep working on anything, to keep innovating. If you can tell a really cool story and get more money than an actual startup company when they put in 5 years of work to develop some new technology, but it's more profitable to just make a cool story, to make a promise coin, right? Hex is having to compete with that, but there will, I think, be breakthrough moments where reality really gets tested. Right now, we do see JPEGs selling for millions of dollars. We do see all of this, you know, ridiculousness in the space. And, you know, those are things that I think as a community we can learn from, we can acknowledge, okay, why is this working? You know, what is it about these pet rocks, these ether rocks that people love so much? And what, you know, what is it? And I think really Richard has, as always, like caught on to things very early, has already spent months and months and months building a better copy of Ethereum, building a better copy of Uniswap, right? Developing new bridge technology, understanding the best kind of vampire attack you can create, which potentially, you know, I was saying this on a Twitter Spaces, and I'm so incredibly sad that I didn't realize I could hit the record button, or I thought I had hit the record button.
I was on that one.
I did like a 2-hour deep dive on you know, this whole liquidity use case and this idea that maybe, you know, that maybe Pulse will flip Ethereum, will steal its users, will take its lunch money, you know, all that kind of stuff. But it's because if you create a bridge that has the right incentive structure, sometimes you might end up incentivizing something that pays for itself. So when you bridge liquidity from ETH and you create a connection between a pool of money that's in an automated market maker on Ethereum, and then you have a mirror of everything on Pulse, I believe that, you know, if that incentive token that those of us who sacrifice for Pulse X we'll get a vote. We'll be part of the DAO that determines which bridges and which token and liquidity pairs are the most rewarded at any given time. And we will be able to reward people who are bridging in value from Ethereum. That will give everything on Pulse a value. And if, you know, if we're paying whatever the cost is to incentivize people to bridge in liquidity, it might only take $100 million. It might only take $1 billion worth of incentives to create $10 billion of value, to create $100 billion of value. You know, Coinbase is a dying technology. It's a contradiction. It's an oxymoron. It's a centralized crypto exchange that IPO'd in the past year since the last HEX conference for $100 billion. You know, so this idea that Pulse X could come along and do much better, I think it's reasonable. People, you know, are going to have to do their own research, but there's a lot of really exciting stuff, and I'm so glad we get to talk about it. And so, any final comments here from everybody before we sign off for the day?
Shout out to, I got one. Shout out to everybody who's making this community great, especially those admins.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's not an easy job.
Admins deserve so much respect, and I don't know all of their handles off the top of my head, and I should.
I can
all of you out there.
I can shout a couple out.
Please,
shout out to the sticker guy for helping you out, man.
Yeah,
the sticker guy.
Yeah, the sticker guy behind the scenes helping everything go smoothly with.
He did an excellent job.
Yeah, but yeah, the admin Scotty Knows and Papa B and the long vacation and Nenad, and there's so many others. It's like we actually created an admin group for admins on Telegram because it was just getting a little unruly as far as
that's so meta.
A systematic, right? It is a systematic approach. I and Nenad went to Richard about it, and we're like, hey, it's like we got to have a more cohesive approach to how we try to manage these Telegram channels because it was just getting unruly. And I'm proud to say I helped kick that off, and those guys have been doing great. I've been super busy and not as involved, but man, they're in there grinding it out every day on Telegram, trying to keep people away from bullshit and focused on what's right, which is Richard Heart created projects and products. And absolutely a thankless job. That's a really tough spot. And then of course all the streamers out there like Maddie and the Discourse guys and Kareem and Wales and all of them. I mean, there's so many, and the TA guys, Gerardo. I mean, we could go on and on, but just the growth of the community. And this is, it kind of, piqued this thought in my mind when Maddie mentioned the NFT guy that was talking to, or NFTs in general. And it was on Richard's Twitter Spaces just prior to Maddie's Twitter Spaces yesterday, I believe. And the thing they were talking about was community. It's like, well, we got community. And it's like, I read once that cocaine is a hell of a drug, and it makes everybody feel like they love each other because it's like it releases all of these endorphins, and everybody's each other's best friends. It's like if you ever watch the movie Boogie Nights, and Roller Girl is in with, I can't remember the name of the actress, but I adore her, a red-haired actress, older actress in the movie. They're doing coke together, and she was like, "Can I be your mom? Can I pretend like you're my mom?" Because they were so in love with these overflowing endorphins from being high on coke. Well, that's also how some of these crypto communities get. And it's because they're all making stupid money off of stupid things. And just like a Coke come down, all of that falls apart when the buzz wears off because there's nothing behind it. It's hollow, right? And that's what you got with like a lot of these NFT communities. I'm sorry, fellas, if you're, chasing those gains. But, at the end of the day, that shit's going to unravel. Just like Richard said, it's just like gaming communities and everything else. It gets stale and moves forward. Hex is a different animal. Yes, we have a hugely strong community. I would dare say the strongest community in all of crypto, and committed community. People that are staked out for beyond 15 years with billions of dollars at stake. This is the glue that's going to keep a community like this one together. It is not cocaine. It is naturally derived endorphins from good choices and delayed gratification. And so I think that that's something else that sets us all apart. I've talked way too much on the stream, but I always just get so geeked out. Thanks to all you guys, Sinclair, Kenyon, HEXican down there, Priya. Love your stuff. Keep up the good work. Crispy, Tim, hope to see you in Vegas again. Lindsay, hope to meet you for the first time in Vegas. Looking forward to seeing you again, Maddie. Thank you so much for having me on, and good luck with the rest of the convention.
Thank you. Who else has something to say before we wrap up?
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, no, go ahead.
Can I proceed?
No, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, every time I see HEXicans on Twitter say they just quit their 8 to 9 jobs and they're doing hex flex. You call it hex flex, hex flexing, showing up. It's really something that is not a joke, because when you look at our scenario, maybe here in East Africa, the guys who entered, the old folks who stocks and shares in these big corporates, and maybe they've taken like 20 years to live off from those shares. It is amazing when we see what HEX is doing in just 2 years, and it is turning ordinary people into millionaires. A big kudos once again for people who are positioning themselves in a technology that is just 2 years, and it is going to show the world what it is truly made of. Big salute and much thanks to Richard Heart himself.
Yes.
Yeah, and I like to say that I think everybody in this HEX community will be in a position to not only benefit ourselves and our family, but I think we'll be in a position to benefit the world. You know, whether it be big or small. Like obviously, right now, I'm not able to impact the world with any like financial work, but I feel that in the next few years we'll be able to do that, and me particularly, I'll be able to do that. So I think we're in a good position if that's on your mind. Because me and my friend were having a conversation the other day, and we were talking about, well, if you have one wish, what would it be? And it's like, oh, you know, world peace. And I believe that most people have that type of wish for world peace or for something in the world to change, right? If they could change it. And I think, you know, with early investors and, you know, whether it be PulseX or Pulse or HEX, and we're still early in all of that, right? I feel that we'll be able to make a big impact for sure. And obviously we've seen what we were able to do when Richard Heart had the sacrifice for Pulse and had the donations for Sense Foundation, right? We were able to make, what was it, like 26 million or something? And, you know, that's just for a sacrifice, you know what I mean? It was just like donations, it wasn't even all of it. So, yeah, I really feel that we're going to be able to make an impact. And I think a lot of HEXicans definitely do want to make an impact, you know, guys like, you know, Hex Toys and other HEXicans, like, yeah, it's a pretty solid place to be for sure.
And, you know, speaking of which, I haven't really heard the Sense Foundation make a whole lot of public statements about all that until I interviewed them yesterday, which we pre-recorded for day 3 of the HEX conference. So I'm excited to share that because I think it also adds so much credibility to really what happened with Richard inventing this new model. Just, you know, by the way, here's a new model to fundraise for stuff going forward into the future by creating airdrops and crypto. I mean, it's a perfect match. And so there are so many examples of his brilliance not yet being appreciated. You know, it reminds me of the wheel was invented, according to the Smithsonian Institute, 300 years before it got used for transportation. So you can have a good technology that doesn't find its ultimate use case immediately. And in HEX, I don't think we'll wait 300 years to get our best adoption and use case, but I think that sometimes things take time. And when we see so many things kind of growing all at once, this other story that's happening right now at the moment is CoinMarketCap has apparently not taken HEX off of the top 10, which means that this is the longest duration it's stayed in its honest and righteous position in the top 10 market cap. We don't know that, you know, tomorrow for the second day of the HEX conference, whether it'll still be there or not. But I would like to observe that when I organized the meetup in Las Vegas in June, there was somebody who came up to me right before I got on stage to welcome everybody on the first day. And they showed me a stack of papers that was the lawsuit against CoinMarketCap that they had just filed like a day or two before. And they kind of, you know, I think that they had, that the timing had worked out, but that they had made sure to get it done before they came to Vegas. And so I almost wonder if there isn't some sort of like, you know, legal thing happening right now because maybe of the online HEX conference, and because these are great opportunities to rally everybody together. I got involved as a broadcaster because of the gatekeeping on CoinMarketCap. It boiled my blood. I thought it wasn't right. Like that's what hooked me in to the actual broadcasting side of things. And so I think that there are probably a lot of people out there that are going to find what motivates them to get involved. And sometimes the gatekeeping, it's not all bad, but certainly for those of us who are maybe done accumulating or who are ready for HEX to go to the moon, you know, it's exciting to see possibly another gate falling because this is like a game of dominoes. You know, once a few things start falling, you know, how hard is it going to be for Richard to get on Joe Rogan, you know, once HEX is properly listed everywhere as a top 10 crypto all of a sudden, right? And we'll continue to get to see the truth play out against all the lies, and to see the signal increase in ratio to the noise, I think is really exciting. Other final thoughts before we wrap up?
One other thing, if I just throw in there really quick, is right in line with what you're saying, is all the things that are going on behind the scenes that maybe people don't know about, you know, with different things that, you know, some of the guys, RG3 and Kinetics are working on. You know, Steph and the guys at Staker are just grinding away to, you know, help things be easier and smoother to continue to help on board. And then different connections through, you know, professional athletes and entertainers and politicians and things like that, where we're really making inroads. And as Sinclair spoke to a moment ago, as far as, you know, as people become free of the burdens of, you know, grinding out a living, then, you know, it gives us all opportunities to branch into some of these fields, like politics, perchance. I don't know who would vote for me, but, you know, I've thought about that myself. And I think I
would vote for you.
Thank you, sir. I think that's an untapped resource. And I've actually had some conversations with some local governments, and there's financing or funds available, I should say, in local government for long-term investment. So, you know, who doesn't want to be the star mayor in their state, you know, and then get the attention of the governor, and then before you know it, then, you know, government pension funds for states and maybe nationally are being utilized, or HEX is being utilized in those. It only makes sense if you know, everyone's looking for yield. So as more and more people become aware of it, look at your simple IRAs, look at your 401ks from your work. What have they got you invested in? You know, is it doing as well as HEX? Probably not. So as those barriers come down to investing in crypto and having them in retirement vehicles, and pension funds and things of that nature, I think, you know, we are so early, it's silly. And the gatekeeping is absolutely opportunity. Yes, it's frustrating. Yes, it feels like the opposite of validation, but it is opportunity. So as long as it's not listed on, I mean, maybe today's the day where CoinMarketCap finally gets it right and leaves it there. But, you know, we're not listed on major exchanges, and that's a good thing, you know. So these are all things we got to remember, and be thankful that we're in early, and just make sure people are making the effort to learn about staking and the real mechanism of what HEX has to offer. So that's my final thought. Once again, thanks to everybody. It's a pleasure.
It's been amazing to have all of you on tonight, and everybody who came on for this second annual HEXconference.com. we have an amazing program coming up as well. Day 2, we're going to have Crypto Coffee, John Wick, Johnny Chaos, and Motley the Investor do a price panel. We'll have a talk from Crypto Heartbeat with the Compassion Cartel, as well as Kareem. And then we'll have this awesome Dissent panel with Eric Wall, or it might be a series of talks, as well as Coach K, and then Nerd Girl and Seth Estrada. Discourse Syndicate will also be checking in. And another thing that I'm really excited about is we might get an update from the Highest of Stakes, even if it's not from their primary team, who's involved with a bunch of important post-production stuff. But I'm really excited about the update we'll get there. And then we've got this huge social with Hex musicians and with other super important members of the community. On day 3, we'll have a really important talk from Dev Ruth, as well as talks from David Feeder and Firebun about wrapped stakes and being a pulse validator. The Quants will combine all of their powers with Gerardo, Wales Only, Wave 3. And then I've got, I believe, 2 NFL players signed up to speak with Blaze and Funding Jim and I to talk about Sun Wealth and pro sports. Then we'll hear from the Sons Foundation and have an awesome social with new YouTubers and other people who had signed up for the HEX conference, and we're excited to have you. Day 4, we'll talk about mental health. We'll hear from the Staker app CEO and hear from John Wick about good accounting, the origin address funds. And then we'll have this section where people have been picked to have a spotlight with Richard Heart. So we'll have Crypto Sparbach and Gerardo and Crypto Heartbeat, Wales Only, Super Hex, and possibly Future Us to all have individual time with Richard on screen. Then we'll have Richard's keynote and again, a couple more socials. So there's really a lot to look forward to. I would also probably like to throw in some content relating to Pulse X and how to sacrifice, because up until day 3, you will still be getting the best rate possible. So shout out to everybody who's going to be speaking at the conference. We've got special instructions for the speakers in Telegram. And if you can't get a hold of me because 80 people are messaging me at once, reach out to Sticker Guy, who has been helping to organize everything.
Thank you for having us, Maddie.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Maddie. Thanks for putting us all on screen here and having us all
My
share
pleasure.
space tonight. This has been great.
I look forward to talking to you more throughout this conference.
Yeah, for sure, Maddie. Thank you so much for putting this together, man. I know it's a lot of hard work for sure, but appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks.
Have a good night, everybody.
All right.
All the viewers out there. See you.
Have a good night.
Peace.
Thank you for watching.
Thanks, everybody.
Peace.
Take care.
All right.
Right.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Move, your 30-day yoga journey. I'm Adrienne. That's Benji.